back in 2018. It was my first tour as tour manager with OneRepublic, and we were in Asia. I went to the airport ahead of the band with all their passports and bags to check everybody in. This was in Kuala Lumpur, and we were flying to Seoul, South Korea. And the agent is checking everybody in, swiping the passports, and she gets to my drummer's passport, and it says, the passport comes up as stolen. And I said, nope, it's right there. Like,
you're holding it.
Here it is. And she said, yeah, I can't issue a boarding pass for this one. And I said, but we flew here from India or wherever it wasn't our first stop. And she was trying to override the system, and she finally just turned the screen around to me, and it said, Interpol Korea, do not board. And I was like,
oh no.
Well, and like the band was walking in, and I'm just handing out all their boarding passes. And I said to my drummer, I was like, you hang here with me for a second. Luckily, of all the flights on that tour, that was the one flight that we were on the same flight as the crew. So Zito, again, our production manager, was on that flight. He was already at the gate with the crew, and I'm calling management in America. I'm calling our passport and visa agent. For some reason, this passport has come up as stolen, and and they won't. So
what does that even mean?
I don't know. It was, I didn't know what to
crazy.
do. And thank God our promoter rep was staying with, he stayed with me at the airport, and I just had to send the rest of the band through. And I said, Zito, you're in charge of them. Like, get them on the plane.
Yeah.
And the promoter in South Korea was on the other end waiting to put them in cars. So that part was taken care of. And then it was just me and my drummer and our promoter rep. And I finally got a phone number to the U.S. Embassy in Kuala Lumpur.
Oh my gosh.
Over an hour drive away. The lady, thank God for her, said, we'll stay open for you, because they were closing, of course. And she said, just get here as soon as you can. I'll wait for you. And I was like, okay. We drive an hour to this embassy. I can't take my phone in. Have to leave the phone in a locker. It's just me and him in there with his stolen passport
that he's holding. Yep.
And we filled out the emergency paperwork, and she said, great, I can get this processed in an hour. She was like, I just need a passport photo. And I was like, you can't take that here? And she was like, no. And I said, well, I have a digital version on my phone that's outside in this locker. And she's like, no, we need an actual passport. She goes, if you drive down the street and around the corner, there's a grocery store, and you can get the photos done there. And I was like, will you wait for us to come back? And she's like, yeah, okay. And I was like, oh my God. So we go back outside. Promoter rep drives us to this. It was a grocery store, and we went upstairs, and there was a lady in the corner with an infant on her lap. And she said, yeah, come here, we take photo. and she took his photo, printed it out. We haul ass back to the embassy. They print him an emergency passport.
Okay.
And they're punching holes in his stolen passport, which means it's completely void.
Whoa.
And she happened to hear me say to him, this is great. There's one more flight to Seoul tonight at 11. We can make it on that flight. And she said, oh, did you say you're going to try to fly out tonight? And I said, yeah, like you're giving us this passport. Like, thank you so much. You saved the day. And she goes, well, now that I've punched holes in the other one, his entry stamp is invalid, and you need a valid entry stamp to get an exit stamp. So you're not going to be, and to get a new entry stamp, you have to go to this other office, and they're already closed. But they open at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And I was like, what?
When was the show?
We had one day off.
Thank God.
So thank goodness, which I was on the phone with management. They were flying another drummer over just in case, which I could not tell.
Yeah.
Because he was already just felt so defeated. And so we leave, we took the emergency passport, we leave the embassy, and I was like, let's just go back to the airport and try it. What's the worst that can happen?
Jail.
Well, I just thought, why don't we just try? I mean, you have an entry stamp.
Yeah.
We have it in this passport. We just don't have it in this one. And so if they want to see it, we'll just show it to them. And maybe because it's the luck of the draw who you get at these counters.
Yeah.
Maybe we can explain our way through. And so we went back to the airport, an hour drive, got new tickets for that last flight out. We were in line, and God bless this promoter rep that just stayed with us this whole time, who did not have to, and he did. And we were in line at immigration forever. And as we were getting closer, my drummer was like, okay, what do you want me to say? And I was like, you're not going to say anything. I'll just do all the talking.
Yeah.
And so he presented his new passport, and of course they look for the entry stamp. And so he shows them the old passport, and the lady was very confused, and there was a language barrier. And I said, well, what happened is we have two passports, and this one, somebody said it was stolen, but it wasn't. But we got another passport today, and we don't really have time to go get the new stamp, but the old stamp's right here because we flew in 2 days ago. And like, the more I kept talking, the lady just said, that's fine, just go. And I was like, okay, thank you. And we got through, and we were both like, are we good? Like,
oh my gosh.
We got through Malaysia
Yeah.
immigration. What's going to happen? Because his visa for Korea was tied to the stolen passport that now has holes in it.
You're trying to get into Korea. Yeah.
So it was just, even then we couldn't relax on the flight, the 6-hour flight, because we were like, what happens when we get off the plane in Korea? At least we'll be in the right country.
Just kidding.
And but we made it. We got through. Korea had no problems.
So maybe moral of the story is just rant. Just
keep talking.
Just keep talking.
Just keep
and they'll
talking.
just get annoyed and get you through. Yeah. Wow.
That was a wild story. Like, that was the wildest. We still talk about that because, like, he
what's
was
the
ready to
tattoo
go
say?
home. Yeah, it is what it is. He literally said, like, just, you know what, forget all this. Just put me on a plane. I'm going home. And I was like, you're not going home. We're going to Korea, and you're going to do this show, and we're going to finish this tour, and it's going to be fine.
Yes.